You're watching Attraction Source, and today I'm at Chessington World of Adventures in April 2025 for the Vampire's 35th birthday. This weekend the resort hosted a couple of special events, including a behind-the-scenes tour and a question and answer session with none other than the original designer behind the attraction, John Wardley. In this video we'll explore the history of this famous suspended coaster and include some highlights from the celebrations, along with talking to John Wardley himself. Rewinding back to 1984, and due to Chessington Zoo's declining attendance, the original owners, the Two Swords Group, commissioned creative designer John Wardley to come up with plans to revitalise the park. His vision was to immerse guests in a world of adventures by installing rides and attractions that were quite simple in nature but were highly themed and showcased the beauty of the world's wonders. Chessington World of Adventures opened in 1987 to a huge amount of success, so naturally guests' appetite for more attractions was soon evident. 1990 saw Transylvania, a whole new area added to the park which contained the classic bubble works and of course the Vampire. Other amusement parks in the UK had not been doing what Chessington had done with Transylvania. Vampire was a cutting-edge ride at the time, being the first aerodynamic suspended coaster outside of the USA, and was based in an environment that provided an immersive experience that was unrivaled in the country. Vampire went on to thrill millions of guests over the next 11 years, but with the likes of Nemesis at Alton Towers and other more technologically advanced and smoother rides opening, Chessington were keen to improve Vampire. For the 2002 season, the park contracted Vekoma to provide new floorless trains for the ride. Although the new vehicles were not as visually dramatic as the previous bat-themed trains, they were easier for guests to board and allowed them to swing their legs freely, increasing the feeling of exposure and ultimately the thrill. Fast forward to today, Vampire is still going strong and is very much still a flagship roller coaster at Chessington. Although the ride's appearance has changed in parts over the years, with a slightly more family-friendly theme in comparison to the original ride, it continues to thrill a whole new generation of fans, and is crazy to think it's now celebrating its 35th season. What's your favourite memory of Vampire then? Let us know below. So I'm now here with Martin Cowdrey, who's been working at Chessington over 20 years in the Technical Services Department. So Martin, thanks for speaking to us today. So just tell me about your job role here at Chessington as Technical Services Learning Manager.
So currently my job role is the Technical Services Training Manager. I look after the training with the engineers. I will do some assessments, I will even take them training, make sure the paperwork is complete, and then everyone's signed off safely to do their ride checks in the morning. So like I've said, I've been here 27 years. I started here as an electrical engineer. I moved on to team leader. I moved on to an area manager, and then I was looking after the Vampire for about just under 25 years. And it's a big team. We used to look after the ride, and we make sure it's not just one person, it's a team effort on the ride. And it's not just the Vampire, it's all of them. But my main thing is, I've been here all that time. The Vampire's my life size.
It really is, and I think the passion with your involvement with the enthusiasts and special events like today is, really shines through. So what would you say Vampire means to you, and how has it influenced your career?
Well, from the beginning, when I first started, I was on Terratoon, and then I moved on to Vampire and other rides with the engineers and the team. But it's coming to work, enjoying the work, it's the atmosphere. It's not just about the rides, it's not a place of work, it's the place you come to enjoy your life. I've been here a long time, and it's enjoyment. I enjoy coming to work, seeing the differences, seeing the teams, looking after the ride. But a big part of that enjoyment is even going on the ride, maintaining it as well, ordering the spares, making sure the team is working, planning for winter, summer. And now we're open more often, so we have to plan differently. And now I've moved on to the training manager.
So what's involved in keeping Vampire running so well in terms of kind of safety, in terms of maintenance, and hopefully keeping it for a good few more years yet?
So every morning we will do our walk around, we'll check the ride areas, all ride areas. You may not know where they all are, but we'll go to lift 2 initially, turn on the compressors, check for air leaks and brakes and things like that. Check all the areas as well. You're not just looking at what the ride is. There's trees, there's fences, queue lines. You check everything. Then we'll go back to the station, we'll check the trains there. Then we can do our normal checks in the morning, do a block test as well. Make sure it's all safe, ready to go. We'll hand it over to the presentations team, and then they get to ride it. And that's the sort of time I can ride it as well. A few times a day sometimes I don't ride it in weeks.
I think, certainly it has been a well-maintained ride. There's not many arrow-suspended coasters actually left these days. So, it's really good that Chessington are putting the investment in it to keep it running. And clearly the event this weekend has been super popular and shows, how you've got a whole generation of new fans that are loving it as much as the old ones back in the aerodynamics era before the floorless train. So, Martin, I really appreciate you speaking to us today.
You're welcome.
And thank you for your
Chris.
involvement.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the VIP event at Chessington.
So, talking about the event and to mark such a milestone, Attraction Source was invited to attend the special Vampire 35th birthday Q&A with legendary ride designer John Wardley, hosted by Howard Ebbison, Divisional Director here at Chessington. The presentation and Q&A offered a deep dive into the creation of Vampire, the beloved bubble works, and the early transformation of Chessington into a theme park. John shared numerous personal stories and design anecdotes, some of which fans may recognise from his autobiography Creating My Own Nemesis, but hearing them delivered in person brought a whole new energy. During the Q&A, John answered a number of Vampire-specific questions, including why the aerodynamic suspended coaster was the right choice, and his thoughts on the original ride experience. He recalled travelling to Busch Gardens Williamsburg in the USA to ride Big Bad Wolf, which ultimately inspired the concept. And then he said it was exactly what we needed for Chessington. The swinging coaster offered something thrilling, unique, and completely different to anything else in the UK at the time. He also shared his thoughts on the ride's current trains, noting that while the originals were highly themed, the newer versions provide a smoother and more dynamic ride experience. A standout moment talking about other topics came during a discussion of the newly announced Universal UK Resort, where John commented, "I think it's a great opportunity. I feel the British parks are going to rise to the challenge. The thing to bear in mind, not many people seem to realise this, that it's not going to be a David and Goliath situation. There's room for us all. Less people may go to mainland Europe to visit this kind of attraction, so we may see an increase in UK staycations once we have a Universal Studios resort here. I also happen to know that what Chessington is about to do here is going to absolutely wipe the floor at anything that anyone's ever seen in the market in Britain. And that's for real, and that's going to happen in a couple of years' time." Following the Q&A, attendees were welcomed by Martin Cowdrey, who ran an interactive quiz with the chance to win original parts of the Vampire ride, including ride wheels. Between rounds, fun facts about the coaster were shared, including that Vampire has 110 individual supports, and that Vecoma's project number for the 2001-2 transformation was 91031. And yep, I was lucky enough to win a Vampire upstop wheel. Guests then had the opportunity to meet John Wardley in person for signings and photos. Everyone received a commemorative poster featuring art from the original launch of Vampire and Bubbleworks, as well as a limited edition Vampire 35th anniversary beer created in partnership with the Windsor and Eton Brewery. After the event, we had the pleasure of sitting down with John Wardley for a one-on-one interview, which we'll finish this video with. So, are you going to ride Vampire during its 35th season? What are your thoughts on the future of this classic attraction? Let us know in the comments. So I'm now here with famed designer John Wardley, none other than the classic designer who is responsible for attractions such as Nemesis, Air, Oblivion. But before all of that, originally Chessington World of Adventures and the transition from zoo to theme park, and also why we're here today, the Vampire, which is now 35 years old. So, John, it's really great to see you. How are you doing? How have you found today?
It's been fantastic, the response and the happy memories that people have had of the Vampire and the Bubbleworks and the early days of Chessington. People have been coming up to me saying, "Oh, I rode the Vampire as a kid and now I ride it with my children or my grandchildren or whatever." So it holds a great place in people's hearts.
Definitely. So, did you have any idea back then that we'd still be riding 35 years later on the Vampire?
I knew that we'd created something very, very special. It was the first time a really immersively themed environment had been created in Britain, where people were able to be absorbed in that Transylvania atmosphere with the Vampire and the Bubbleworks and the Black Forest Chateau, and the whole thing came together. as a very, very good cohesive entertainment package. But in answer to your question, did I think that it would be still here in 35 years' time? You know, it never occurred to me. We created something which appeared to be satisfactory. It was working. It had turned the fortunes of Chessington Zoo around. It consolidated the Chessington World of Adventures operation and led to the then development of Alton Towers and so on. So, you know, I wasn't looking into a crystal ball, but I had a feeling that the ride was going to be very durable and would last and be popular for many years.
For me, it was a standout attraction when I was growing up, being local to Chessington. Yeah. Growing up in Kingston, it really was the ride that put theme parks on the map for me. I think my favourite ride is still Nemesis at Alton Towers, which obviously came a few years later. But I think during that whole period, I really kind of fell in love with your projects here. So 35 years later, you know, when I was there on opening day, I wasn't tall enough to ride it. But I was there and I even got this badge. I am
by a few feet.
Almost too tall to ride it, but certainly it's a magical memory for me. But talking about opening day, do you have any specific memories and what's your favourite?
Well, as I say, the whole project glued together extremely well. So on opening day, I was absolutely thrilled with the way the people were marvelling at what we'd created. They were thrilled by the vampire ride. They were enchanted by the bubble works. So they're coming out of the bubble works laughing, singing the music, going to the back of the queue and riding it again, going to the back of and then testing themselves as who would dare ride the vampire and so on. So opening day was very special indeed, and I'll always remember it.
No, sounds good. And if and when the vampire comes to the end of its life, hopefully it never will, what do you think the best way would be to honour such an iconic attraction? And I'm going to cite an example. We have Busch Gardens Williamsburg that is about to launch Big Bad Wolf, which again was another very amazing arrow suspended coaster, which again I rode when I was very young, and they're launching a new generation B&M family coaster, which again is a wonderful ride system, very smooth, very thrilling. What do you think Chessington could do in the future?
Well, obviously Chessington will move with the times. Nothing stands still. If the life of the vampire comes to an end, we will. Well, it won't be up to me, will it? I mean, I would imagine that the Merlin Magic Making team will review the options as far as what is new and cutting edge as far as the ride hardware, but should never lose sight of the fact that it is a wonderful entertainment machine that is telling a story that's actually elaborating on the theme that we originally created. So it's got to be true to the Transylvania vampire and so on, but it might use some new exciting ride hardware. Who knows what will be out there when that day comes.
And it's the first time you've been to Chessington in a while today,
yeah.
And I understand you had a walk around.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Chessington in 2025?
I think it's
especially
fabulous.
the new projects over the last few years.
I mean, it's absolutely fabulous. The new Mandrill Mayhem ride is a lovely ride. Once all the plants and the landscaping has grown up, it'll have an incredible atmosphere. Again, it will enclose and stop the theme leaking out, and that's what with the bubble works and the vampire originally. The theme didn't leak out. You could not see the outside world when you were in that area, and the same will be true there. The way in which everything has been maintained, the way the theming has been maintained, the quality of the special effects and the lighting and the so on in the shows is superb. So I'm extremely impressed by what I've seen.
Great. No, I'm really pleased to hear that. So that wraps up our very short interview with John. It's a pleasure to see you as always. Remember that every now and again we will host events featuring industry celebrities just like John, so we're really appreciative of the opportunity. So if you have enjoyed this content today, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for plenty more just like this one. So thanks so much, John.
Thank you, Chris.
And we'll see you in the next video.